When it comes to Ratchet and Clank, the reality is this. It's an old game. It's a game that should easily be $30 on the PC by now. That's on Steam or Epic. There's just too much to play, especially with constant sales on platforms like Steam and Epic. All of the people who feel they just have to have a PlayStation game or they just must play a particular PlayStation game, they already have a PlayStation 5. To everyone else, it's just another great game that's overpriced. And though it's pretty, it is cartoony. So people are just going to look at it like, hey, look, this game looks great and eventually I will purchase it, but I'm going to purchase it at a price that I want to purchase it, and it's 2 years old. So with all the hype around it, it's just planted in the back of everyone's mind that it's a 2-year-old game. Now, I know a lot of people will talk about God of War, but look, let's be honest. God of War is just that kind of game. I mean, it's a rare type of game. You know, yeah, a lot of people wanted to play that on PC because the game was already awesome and people just wanted to see him throw that axe and flail those, man, I forgot what they're called, but you know, the chain blades around. People just wanted to see that and see how it would look on the PC, you know, going at a very high frame rate. And like I said, it's God of War, so you can't compare Ratchet and Clank to God of War. All of these other games that's coming out, they're great games. No one is denying that. But look, there are a lot of great games on PC. There's a lot of great games out there, period. So just because a game is a great game, it doesn't mean that it's a special type of game where you can put it out on a platform now and then 2 years later put it on another platform, especially when it's very, very popular and a lot of people were talking about it and there's a lot of hype around it. And people expect people not to remember that that game came out 2 years ago. So I got the game because the game was gifted to me. And look, the Ratchet and Clank is a great game, but it's not like it's a special type of game. And, you know, forgetting about all that stuff about the SSD and all of that, you know, I was never really into that. That was a bunch of hot garbage to me. But like I said, anybody who wanted to play that game or any other type of PlayStation game, believe it or not, guys, there are people out there who own just about all of the platforms, if not literally all of them. They own a PC, they own an Xbox. Some people even own an Xbox and an S. I own one, but I have my own reasons for that. Not going to get into that. And a PlayStation 5. Now, I have a PlayStation 5, but Ratchet and Clank is just not a game that I felt like I had to play. I mean, I have such a large backlog that, to be honest with you, I was just reminded of it when it came out on Steam. I was like, yeah, that is on my back. I intended to play that. And I intended to play it on the PlayStation 5. But, you know, it was gifted to me, so I took it, and it's a great game. And, yeah, it's worth full price if it was brand new, or had they done something to it that truly would have made it special. You know, you can't get into all of the things that people would expect it, you know, people would expect on the PC. Of course, people would expect it to run El Primo on the PC. They would expect, you know, ray tracing and all those sorts of things. So maybe they could have added some extra content to it or something like that. It would have made it worth it. But the reality is this. They want to sell these games on PC and get full price for them. They need to sell those games when the hype is fresh, not 2 years later. That hype is dead now, you know. And the only reason why the new hype was, you know, worked up around it was because of the whole SSD thing. It wasn't even so much about the game itself. There was really no one saying, "Man, I can't wait for this game to come out. Man, this is going to be great." I mean, of course, there were some people because it did sell well. And I mean, when I say it sold well, let's be honest, in another direction too. Let's flip the coin here. There are some devs out here, development companies that would love to have the numbers that Ratchet and Clank has. So, you know, but we are talking about Sony. So for Sony, it didn't do so well, you know, and that's just the way it is. The only way these games are going to sell well, consistently, not when it comes to games like God of War, but consistently, they're going to have to sell them day and date. And that's just all there is to it. I mean, if you're one of these PlayStation fans that hate the idea of that, well, I hate it for you. Eventually, they're going to have to come to the realization that they need to sell these games day and date if they want to get full price for them. Now, I expect for sales for Ratchet and Clank to increase. I don't have the data in front of me, but I believe these games, once they start going on sale, especially when they go on the types of sales that includes all of the DLC and all of the extra content, and clothing items, weaponry, things of that nature. I believe those games really, really sell well at that stage. So Ratchet and Clank will eventually make some money on the PC. It just won't do it at full price. I mean, Ratchet and Clank is a great game, but it's not a God of War. It's not an Elden Ring. It's not even a Hogwarts Legacy. I mean, these games are games that just people are just drawn to. You know, it's something that's special about those games. And though Ratchet and Clank is a pretty game, and though, you know, a lot of people are really crazy about Ratchet and Clank, I'm sure that it has its loyal following. It's just not that it type of game. It just isn't. Let's say, for example, if Hogwarts Legacy was a PlayStation exclusive at one time. I believe that Hogwarts Legacy would have sold a lot better than Ratchet and Clank because of the type of game that it is. It's just a very, very popular game. Same thing for Elden Ring. And obviously God of War, because we know what it did and it was a PlayStation exclusive. So those games, those are special types of games. And though Ratchet and Clank is a great game, it's not that great. It's not on that same tier. I'm sorry. And if you love Ratchet and Clank, that's totally fine. I probably have some games that I like and I'm crazy about that many of you may not think is all that. So I know that Ratchet and Clank has a loyal following, and I get that. But the reality is that that game would have sold a whole lot better if it would have came out and sold on day and date. Halo Infinite did very well on the PC within the first week or so. Sea of Thieves did very well on the PC. I know they did very well on Steam, so I'm assuming they did very well everywhere else. So, you know, look, this isn't rocket science. You know, you just have to be careful of which games you're going to try to come out with a couple of years later. You can't just say, oh, well, all PlayStation games are so great that people are just sitting there like crack addicts waiting in a line for crack. You know, they're just waiting on it to drop, like a boa constrictor, just waiting for you to drop that mouse or that rat into the aquarium. They're just ready to feed on it. You know, no, it's not like that. And people who feel that way about PlayStation games, I'll say it again, they already have a PlayStation 5. Even if PlayStation 5 is not their favorite piece of hardware to play on, if they feel like they just have to have those PlayStation games day and date, most of those people already have a way to play it. And that's just all there is to it. So when you come up 2 years later and you release it on the PC, yeah, unless it's those it type of games, those special types of games, which I've already given an example of, yeah, it's more than likely isn't going to do that well. All right, so hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. If you like the video, give it a like. And if you're not subbed to the channel, hey, that's a problem. Go ahead and take care of that and get subbed up. And hey guys, as usual, stay safe.